Mike McCarter knows American history almost as well as he knows the Bible. His family has lived and worshipped in Oregon for 4 generations. The only time I lived out of state was when I was in the military during the Vietnam War, he said. But his Oregon may not be the Oregon you think, with its foggy rugged coastline, pinot noir wineries, and staunch blue politics. McCarter lives in the town of La Pine on Oregon's Red Side, a rural and less populated part of the state. It's like the Grand Canyon stretches across the Cascade Range, reporter Lee told Cowan. He says this means politically that blue part of western Oregon has always outweighed the red part of eastern part. When speaking to a legislator in the Portland area, I said the legislature is not listening to our people, our representatives here. He said, wow, wait Mike. We heard what's left. We just voted for you. So McCarter decided to look for greener pastures, or at least slightly redder ones in this case. Last fall, she was leading a campaign called Move Oregon's Border when she first met Sunday Morning McCarter. The group was busy enforcing voting measures across state, asking voters about the idea of pushing Oregon's urban, blue areas into a smaller but still populous state, and then taking rural red areas and creating something that would become part of a larger state. Vast Idaho. The Move Oregon's Border group advocated moving the border so that rural counties in eastern Oregon became part of the more conservative state of Idaho. Sandie Gilson owns a real estate business in rural John Day, Oregon, which is closer to Boise than Portland in almost every way. He told Cowan, if you have a government that doesn't listen to the opposition or doesn't take into account those who live here, then we don't have government representatives. Cowan asked Gilson, are optimistic that you think have a shot? I look at it as the American Revolution was a major hurdle to overcome and they succeeded, he replied. It had been a year since his Sunday morning visit, so Cowan came back to see how things were going. At the time, 9 counties had voted to make eastern Oregon part of Idaho. Now that number has risen to 12 and there is another group to vote for next May. We're getting into people's heads about this, McCarter said. As for Idaho, at least it's debatable. Last spring, Idaho's state representatives approved a measure to start a dialogue with Oregon about whether and how to redraw their common border. But so far, McCarter said, Oregon has been a tough game to get, at least publicly. We heard from behind the scenes, wait, if we're funding a bridge in eastern Oregon, why would we do that if it's going to be Idaho? But the opposition has also shifted gears. The Portland nonprofit Western States Center describes the move as a radical change that will raise taxes and lower wages. Comparing this to Oregon's past white nationalist hate groups, and add states members of the PA.